Most people think anxiety is weakness, but what if it's a 200-year-old message trying to get your attention? If you're thinking, okay, Hannah, if my body is trying to help me, why does it feel so bad, so intense? Stick with me for this video because by the end, you're going to know why your body does this, what to do when it happens, and how to translate the messages of your body so that you have a relationship with it. So you can go into any situation knowing that you've got this because you know yourself so intimately well. You look around and you know nothing dangerous or a threat is happening, yet the feeling consumes you. Your body acts like it's under attack. Why is that? What if this feeling isn't a problem to fix? And I'll share more a personal experience in a moment, but importantly, why do we default to thinking? We tell ourselves, get it together, be strong, don't cry. But that makes it worse. It actually gets louder. Actually, that is what's trapping you in the feeling. And it's not your fault. You're not alone in this. This is so common. Just none of us have been taught how to translate this language, this 200-year-old wisdom. Importantly, what do we actually do when that feeling hits? It's not squashing it. It's not telling it to stop. Our body thinks it's trying to protect ourselves. So the first question is, where do you feel it? Give yourself an orientation, a map. Is it your chest? Is it your belly? Can you name it without creating an identity out of it? So I remember sitting in a dentist's office and feeling panicked. I felt stressed on the way there. I felt even more stressed once I got into the chair. And I was just getting a retainer fitting. And it was my fifth time. The first retainer was too loose. I couldn't pinpoint any harm happening as I was getting the second retainer fitted. But I remember my palms were sweaty. I could feel my heartbeat racing. And my body didn't want to be there. All I wanted to do was run. Even though I knew I wasn't in danger, I was paying to be there. I was thinking about asking for a refund because the product had been faulty. I'd been in 5 times and I felt terrified. And so naturally, I also felt stupid. But that was when I realized, I was like, wait, my body isn't trying to sabotage me. It was trying to protect me. It was saying, hey, this is reminding me of something that hurt a long time ago, and I'm projecting onto this situation so that we can remember to go there and resolve it. And I will show you exactly what that was connected to in a minute. But importantly, we need to learn how to be in relationship with our emotions. So just neutral naming the qualities that you notice. Again, this is so grounding. You could do it right now. Temperature, does it feel spiky? Do you feel soft? Is there just a concentration of energy somewhere? Is there a color coming to mind? Is it changing? And then ask, what are you trying to protect? Or my favorite one, why are you here? Why do you exist? So back to the dentist chair. This hit me hard. So I'm asking for this refund, but I also know that I had several experiences as a child where I had a dentist who was doing a tooth extraction tell me that it didn't hurt, stop complaining, and that it was just pressure. Tooth extractions are sore. And my body remembered being young and told it doesn't hurt, it's just pressure. Stop complaining. So when I asked the feeling, what are you protecting? The answer was, I'm protecting the younger version of you who was minimized, whose pain was denied as an experience. No one can deny your emotional experiences, by the way. Your emotional experiences are true. They might not be reflective of what's happening, but no one can say you're not feeling that. That's really important to remember, and why we need to learn how to be in relationship with our emotions. So my reaction was disproportionate to what was happening at hand, but also I'd never really looked at that experience of being minimized when I was experiencing severe pain. And to a child, rejection isn't the same as like rejection as an adult. A child experiences rejection as almost like a death, especially when it's pain related. As a child, you don't have the ability to self-regulate yet. You're looking to the adults around you to teach you that. So when you have an emotional experience, when you experience pain, if you're not met with that feeling of being held and I'm with you as you navigate this, what's going to happen? The moment I acknowledged it, I obviously didn't tend everything in that session. I came home and, journaled, but I felt a softening. And I was able to look that dentist in the eye, as she did actually reject, kind of, she's thinking about it, my request. And I just looked her in the eye as she was kind of denying it. And I said, I understand that, but I believe a partial refund is due because I bought the product for the 5-day turnaround and it's been a month plus 5 visits that have already cost me £20 or whatever it was, not let alone the time to travel there. So the feeling softened, not gone because I don't want it to be gone, but calmer because it had been heard. I was like, I see you, I notice you, I'm not trying to pretend it's not there. And this is why most people think or misunderstand. If you think nature does things by accident, she doesn't. Everything in nature's design is fundamental to the harmony that we all experience. Fear is fundamental. It's intentional. And I get it. Fear nowadays is mostly false evidence appearing real. I love that acronym. But fear means awareness. It means that if you notice when you have fear, it's a superpower. It means that you're noticing something that most others in society tells us to ignore. That is wisdom, my friend. And there's a scientific study that proves this. But before we go there, why are we also afraid of emotions? Why do we default to thinking? And the reason points back to what I said in the beginning of, actually, this is how our brains work. Thought gives us the illusion of control, even if we don't want them to happen. It's just like a background noise. Like if you've ever had the TV on or a podcast, kind of helps you escape. It's like a subtle number. And the thinker mind prefers certainty, labels, identity. But here's the twist. Thinking isn't always just wrong. It's just limited. And it can label, but it can't feel. But once you feel, that breaks the loop, it breaks the cycle, and you get the signal, you get the intelligence, and the healing begins. You're not addicted to thinking because you're smart. You're addicted to it because it gives you the illusion of control. But control is a trap. And again, that is not your fault because our brain prefers stability. It's why we are so biased towards solid matter things. There's a famous story about a woman who had been attacked. She went for treatment because it was debilitating her life. She was getting flashbacks all the time. And every time she spoke about it, these red hand marks would appear on her neck. No one was touching her. She was in the safety of her therapist or practitioner's office, but it looked like someone was choking her. What was happening? Her body was remembering. It was storing that trapped tension and emotion that she hadn't let herself feel. So it was saying, hey, this still hurts. We need more attention here. And that is how powerful your body is. And the practitioner, Peter Levine, did something incredible that hadn't been done before. But most of us weren't taught how to listen. And a lot of practitioners are taught to medicate, to numb, escape the signals from the body. That is considered the cure. Luckily, this practitioner was able to free her from that using what was a first of its kind approach in the USA and Europe. But before we understand her treatment, do you know why the thinker mind isn't active when trauma is happening? It's too much. It's the emotional brain, the flight, fright, fight, freeze response. So he realized her brain and her body didn't care that it wasn't happening now. So he just decided to talk not logically and rationally to her, because talking alone wasn't going to help. Instead, what he did was he allowed her to complete the survival response. So, and sometimes when a trauma happens, we can't fight, we can't flee, we can't cry out for help because body takes over. And sometimes that can keep us from getting harmed or even worse, killed. He helped her using imagination to complete the movement that she couldn't finish back then. Through her imagination, she could now do everything she wanted to do to that attacker. And that took her to the coolest image that I'll show you in a minute. But it was having that supportive space, a guide, the imaginative physical actions that told her nervous system, you're safe now. That threat is over. And when her body got that message through imagination, the red marks disappeared. Because the memory didn't need to scream anymore. It had finally been released. And the image she came up with, she turned into a tiger. So the practitioner called his book Waking the Tiger. So what happens when you have a powerful emotion and the mind tries to explain away? The cost is a lot when you tell your body, I'm not listening to you. And I know that because I've done that so much. You know, like you're too sensitive, you're being dramatic, or just focusing on the solution. But emotions, they don't speak in logic, they speak in felt sense. When you let your mind dominate, your body's intelligence gets missed. The thoughts have just been prioritized, almost like a radio. And we have to tune up the volume on body and also get out like our little translator. But emotions don't disappear. It gets stuck in the body unless it's expressed. It needs that release. That's why if you can fight, amazing. Again, if it's not going to put you in danger and if that's your natural response. If you can flee, amazing. That's what animals do, or they shake it out. Whereas sometimes when people experience like a trauma release, people hold them. Here's what you need to do. And here's the process. So if you're stuck in a loop of your own thoughts, you stay stuck in those loops and you never feel anything, even if you're not interpreting it, even if you're just allowing yourself to feel it. I actually think sometimes that can be stronger because emotions are wordless. They don't need that interpretation always. So when your body sends a signal, it's not overreacting. That is ancestral, ancient intelligence. Your body isn't betraying you, it's protecting you. So next time your body has a signal, don't run from it if you can. And maybe you'll only be able to do this in hindsight, but do take that time and say, I hear you. What are you trying to tell me? And you might be surprised by what comes through. But this is just the beginning. Be gentle. Ask yourself, is this happening now? Or is this a memory? Because if you still feel triggered, if this feels like an emotionally charged memory, or you find yourself overreacting in comparison to the actual situation at hand, it's your clue not to shame yourself, but that something wants your attention. And now you have the opportunity to reimagine it the way you wanted it to happen. And you can just trust your imagination and use these tools, use these questions. Hopefully you've screenshotted or put some in your calendar as reminders for yourself throughout the day, because how else do we expect ourselves to learn a new language without repetition and focus? It's going to feel uncomfortable. Maybe sometimes it's going to feel yucky, but feel it. Feel it like it's your last time to feel that emotion ever. Some reason that makes, when we think things are finite, we become grateful for them. We become curious. It's just an emotion. Emotions are just emotions. They don't mean anything about you. You're not a failure. You're not weak. Knowing that you can feel any emotion, you can go after anything, build the dream life that you want. And bonus, you're going to have a better relationship with yourself and you get to be a better friend. So the next time something happens, the reminder is you can bring awareness to something where you're triggered or emotionally activated. Feel it in your body. Where is it? Say it out loud if you can, or just to yourself. Ask what it's protecting. Soften, meet it. And don't fix. You don't need to be fixed. You're perfect. We just need to listen. Thank you so much for watching. If you're a curious person, we explore things here. I appreciate all the feedback and comments and exploring these topics and your unique insights as well. Your body has been learning for over 200 million years. That's how much evolution our bodies have had to kind of attune to this earth. But the thinking mind, she's only been around for 2 million years, you know, she's fresh. And before we had words, before we had the thinker mind, we still had body language, we had eye contact, we had tone, we had breath, digestion. So even now, 80% of your communication is actually nonverbal, or is it? Maybe it's 90%. So we'll be back next Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing you there.